Hi and welcome to Out Nerdy. I'm Paul, and today, episode 4 of Andor. Now, as I've explained in a previous video, my computer's broke. That's why I'm talking to you through my phone. The first 3 episodes were boring. Sorry, they were. It could have been condensed into a 40-minute episode, an hour tops. We didn't need... I like the setup, I understand what they were doing, and we do get a bit of the payoff now in episode 4. But I don't feel it needed to be as drawn out as it did. To its credit, the first 3 episodes didn't really have any callbacks or key jangling or whatever references, like, just as the writer and the director said, this is a completely new show and there's no callbacks and references or Easter eggs. The first 3 shows delivered on that, there were none. Episode 4, on the other hand, had lots. And I don't care how you try and swing it or say I'm being picky, there was a lot of callbacks and a lot of Easter eggs in episode 4. But we'll get there. So what happened in the first 3 episodes, there was lots of talking and walking, and that was it. I'm being disingenuous there, aren't I? Right? So what happens? Andor's looking for his sister, you know, the sister he never mentioned once in Rogue One. And he is in this brothel, which is actually used, you know, by one of the things. So he's looking for his sister, doesn't get any luck. There's security guard, corporate security there who shouldn't be there. And we are told that by, you know, the higher ups. And they give him a bit of a hard time. And wouldn't you know it, they're both white. And many people will say this isn't the case. I don't believe you. But they end up trying to rob him, shake him down, whatever you want to call it. And he's got his hands up, and it might as well be a BLM George Floyd fucking thing for me, because that's all it was. It was 2 white cops fucking hustling or shaking down, robbing, whatever you want to call it, a person of colour. And that's what it was. And it was played and fucking acted out like that. You know, the only things he didn't say was, please don't shoot me, I'm unarmed, or whatever. So that's what happens. And he accidentally ends up killing one of them. And the other guy starts, you know, trying to get out of it. And obviously Cassian has to shoot him as well, because otherwise there'd be a witness. It's done rather well. Don't get me wrong, it's done rather well. What they're setting up, what I mean. So he does a bunk, and, you know, we end up, it's their chief, their boss, is being told by somebody else that, you know, what's gone on. 2 officers have been murdered, and, you know, this guy, he wants to do something about it. He's full of beans, you know. He doesn't know the situation, doesn't know what's going on, doesn't understand it. And the older chap goes, look, you know, he's covering it up, let's be honest, but he's doing it, some would say, with the best of intentions. You know, make them sound like heroes, give them a good send-off, and we just carry on. We do not want, because at this moment, for the first 3 episodes, you don't see the Empire. They're there, but they're not there. Yeah? So it's like, you know, they're just hovering in the background. And this, you know, he says, we do not want Imperial eyes shining down on this place. That includes shining on me or you. And he emphasises the you bit. You do not want them coming down here. So keep your mouth shut, fucking, you know, cover it up. But of course, he's full of piss and vinegar, so he doesn't. Because, you know, he's young. You know, he wants to prove himself. And he starts making a major investigation of it. Long story short, it fucks up. He loses a lot of men. But you can see what they're doing here. You know, he's just a chap who he might not like the people, but, you know, there's an order to things, isn't there? There's an order to things, and it needs to be investigated. So that's the main bit. We then have a really nice, Christmas merchandise robot. It is merch. Don't you worry about that. They've probably got thousands of toys ready built. So Andor is looking for his sister. Like I said, we get flashbacks where during the early stages of the Clone Wars. I guess it's early stages, and a ship crashes, and they go to investigate. As you know, it's like this sounds really bad. If it was anyone but Disney, I'm fairly certain that a group of brown people living very primitively would be looked upon as being racist. You know it's not, I know it's not. But if this wasn't Disney, if this was Warner Brothers or something, and they were, stereotypical, you could say you're leaning very much into primitive stereotypes there, aren't you? But whatever, that's the story. They go looking for the ship. Some of them get shot, and they kill some guards, and some random people come along. They find Andor in the ship and kidnap him. Well, not kidnap / rescue, you could say, and they raise him from then on. That's it. That's it. Oh, and we're told in Rogue One that Andor's been in this fight since he was 6 years old, and yet he isn't. If they may explain it going on, but in these first 4 episodes, in fact, he doesn't know anyone in the rebellion. He may have been doing solo acts against the Empire, but he was not part of any fight except for a personal one. So I think they retconned a bit, maybe, I don't know. Now this is a silly sticking point for me. For you it might be fine and that's great. For me it's a sticking point, is that there's swearing in the show. Now you can say it's more gritty and it's a version of Star Wars. I don't care. We've had people losing hands left, right and centre in Star Wars. We've had heads chopped off and children being murdered and a host of other things. None of it needed swearing in. The swearing did not need to be there. If you are going to swear, use whatever the, in-term universe swearing is. Like frack for Battlestar Galactica. Whatever. Don't use Earth words such as shit and bastards. Now, you might be able to argue the bastards in context, but it still doesn't belong in Star Wars. It didn't belong in Star Trek either. It didn't need to be in Lucifer until it went to Netflix. And after having 4 seasons of SEAL Team without any swearing, it is now kind of strange, however more realistic, it is strange now to hear them swear when for the past whatever on the network they were not able to. So I just find it very strange when shows that previously do not swear suddenly start, because you've got accustomed to them not needing to. Right? So it's a sticking point for me on that with Star Wars. And he meets some guy in the rebellion. We're not really told much about him. And they go to meet so he can buy this kind of a MacGuffin. He's got a MacGuffin that the rebellion wants. So they go to buy it, and just as it's going down, corporate security guy turns up with his men, and boom, firefight ensues. A lot of them die, and they escape. 3 episodes, an hour and 4. I'll call it an hour and a half with all the credits. There's 7 minutes of fucking end credits. My God. So that was an hour and a half done with. And it could have been done in an hour, 40 minutes. Didn't need 3 episodes. Episode 4. So he gets dropped off with a resistance cell. They don't know he's coming, obviously, so it causes a bit of a fracas. He's promised 200,000 Imperial credits for the job because, being in the rebellion's a job now. It's a career. Alright. But I don't mind it. Like I said, this episode, again, still had lots of... This episode ran for 45 minutes. Give or take, about 45 minutes. Now, you saw a lot, don't get me wrong, a lot happened. But it was still very slow burning of it. So, he meets this new crew. They don't like him, they don't trust him, obviously. And they outline the plan on what they're going to do to rob some money from this Imperial barracks / TIE fighter station. I don't know what it is. And that's the main bit of Andor's bit. Now, interwoven in that is we finally see the Empire. And, it's the Imperial Security Bureau building on Coruscant, and they're having, a powwow about what's been going on in their sectors. And we have... You've seen it from the trailer, one of the female space Nazis. She's listening in as they start talking about this MacGuffin. An Imperial officer opposite her says, "We're aware of it. We're aware of what happened on this planet and that this MacGuffin was involved, and we're going to go investigate." Now, she knows what's going on. Oh, she knows part of it, but instead of raising her voice and saying, "I think we can help each other here," she tries to go behind the other officer's back in a game of political manoeuvring. Now, I can get it. I can get behind this a little bit. I can. It's very much in the vein, if you were going to take inspiration from the real world, where it was very much how, like, if you read anything about, that funny fellow with a moustache in 1930s Germany, 1930s Germany, and how his particular organisation was not run very well. There was different parties trying to bite and snap and take each other out. So I can buy this as being, drawn from the real world. So it works for me. But the fact that, the fact that, the wrangling and manoeuvring that she tries and does is both good and bad, because they could have just worked together. However, on this planet from the first 3 episodes, the Empire is now involved. And they fucking swarm the place. So you can, and they have a little brief scene with the people involved, the 3 people primarily involved in the events that led up to all the men being killed. And the Empire, really, really takes them to task and gets rid of them. It's like, you failed. The Empire is now taking control. So that was a really good scene as well, because it showed the repercussions. The guy who should have just, done what he was told is now out of a job, at the very least, for now. Now, whether he ends up turning to the rebellion because of this, or going more hardcore Empire, we're yet to see. But it's an interesting concept. And that's it. That's it. So for the 4th episode as well, I said 45 minutes, lots of talking in hallways and shit. It turns out the Rebel Cell have a insider at the base as well, who's prepared, who, for whatever reason, we don't know his motivation yet, who's working on behalf of this Rebel Cell. So that was it. That's it. It was this episode 4 was a lot better. It was a lot better. And it's still a slow build, but, at some point we need to have a bit of action, So that's it. Did you like episode 4? All 4 episodes? I know the first 3 were a very slow burn. Stuff happened in this, but not at a pace that we might like. But it is showing promise. Did you like this episode? Let me know below if you did. And I will see you all again later. Bye for now.